What's Gucci, everybody? BRC in the building. Today, we're going to go over some helpful info, maybe even say tips and tricks to help you get better placements in rank mode so you could get that rank placement going in the right direction. Now, I know a lot of these tips and tricks or this info is common sense, but there are some people out there that do need these, that do need to add these into their game, and it will help them big time. PUBG is all about randomness. You never know what to expect. But with a lot of these, it's going to be plan of attack, being one step ahead of not other players, but of the zone, and just understanding that you have to be aware of your surroundings and know the terrain to plan your next move or next plan of attack. So let's get started. We're going to start off with landing zones. Try to get comfortable and land in one particular area with your squad, especially if you play with them often. And don't think you have to land hot every time. Now, if you're someone who prefers to play aggressive, then land hot, but don't leave yourself vulnerable or in a position where you get knocked easily, where your team would have to try to do their best to save you and put themselves in a tough position. But if you're not one to land hot, don't be afraid to land in little compounds that are neighboring each other and you guys can separate as long as nobody's landing near you or with you. And you can find really good loot. Be looted up with those tiny compounds and gradually move on to the next. Just be aware of other parachuters that landed in vicinities next to you to keep an eye out for them. Next up is loot. Try to stick to a set loadout that you use all the time and often. Don't keep switching between guns all the time. Yes, you're not going to find the same loadout every single game, but find those couple guns that you're really used to, ones that you're efficient with every single game that you don't struggle with. Be interested in picking up DMRs instead of using bolties all the time. But just remember, when you're using those DMRs or even a bolt action, do your best to never stand still for too long. There are a lot of people out there in ranked in the final circles of games, and leaving yourself vulnerable in the open for just a split second can cost you and your placement. Stay protected, always have cover, and never peek or hard peek for too long. Be aware of how fast the circle moves. You have to loot quick, you have to loot efficient, and you have to have a plan of attack. Probably as soon as you land, make sure you have a vehicle, know where a vehicle is. Doesn't matter if the circle is close, because you never know where it's going to shift. Make sure you're always having a vehicle, maybe two, maybe three, maybe even all four of you in separate ones. So that way, if it is a far circle and somebody flips or somebody gets shot at and damaged and their vehicle is low, you could hop in with your next teammate, feel a little more safe in situations like that. And when you're planning your next shift to the next zone, if you get to a compound in the middle of the zone first, be prepared for a lot of teams to start rolling up on those compounds, because a lot of people find middle compounds very popular, especially in rank, because they just want to sit there and hope the next circle shifts on them. But there's situations at the edge of the circles where a lot of people are pushing in, and there are people who are gatekeeping, so watching the edge of the zone and hoping people run in so they could take them out. So there's never a perfect place to go, but there's always a good choice, and hope everything falls into your favor. High ground, good cover, places where it's harder for teams to get to you because of the terrain, so they can't drive to your compound. Work with the high ground so you could see below, but make sure you're not peeking too hard where they know you're already up there. Use that third person peek to your advantage. Always listen to where you hear a lot of gunshots, even if they happened a while ago. Try to remember where teams are, where they were, so that way you could have somewhat of a track on them to figure out where they could be or where they could be going. And don't forget to grab as many smokes as possible. Smokes are the most important throwable in ranked, in my opinion. If you happen to have a teammate get knocked, throw some smokes. If you have to run through an open field to get to the next compound to be safe, you got to throw as many smokes as possible. So make sure you and your team hold as many smokes that you guys think is necessary. Smokes could really get you out of sticky situations. Don't be afraid to switch up your playstyle. If you're an aggressive player, don't be afraid to play passive. Play smart. If you're a passive player who doesn't like to get engaged in gunfights, sometimes switch it up. Maybe push some fights. Third party a team when you know two teams have been going at it. Sometimes you need to clear an area in order to plan for your next move, but always keep an eye on that zone. Final circles tend to involve a lot more players, so it's harder to survive endgame. But don't be afraid to split up with your team, to maybe separate and clear the way. There are times when you know it's a smart decision, there's times when you know it's not. Just be aware of the battlefield, see what's going on, and communicate with your team so you all have the same idea and the same plan of attack. And that's going to be it for today's video, y'all. If you have any questions, feel free to hit the comment section below or follow me on Twitch. The link is in the description below. Come ask me questions there. I'll be glad to answer them. Other than that, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit that like button. Sub to the channel if you haven't already. Make sure you hit the bell for a little ring-a-ding-ding to get notified when the next video of mine goes live. And I'll catch you on the next one. Peace. Nice, Foyo. One more's coming in. Same area to your left.
Two.
Is there two? Okay.
Nice, one more to your left for you.
Nice, Foyo. Let's go, baby.